Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this RAIN Alliance webinar, The Year in Review. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few logistics. All participants are placed on mute throughout the call. If you have any questions or comments, please submit during the presentation using the Q&A box on the control panel on your screen. Questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Additionally, the call is being recorded and the recording will be made available to the public on the RAIN website following the close of the presentation. On behalf of the RAIN Alliance, I am delighted to introduce to you Aileen Ryan, President and CEO of the RAIN Alliance, joined by RAIN Alliance board member Pierre Muller, RFID BU manager at EM Microelectronics. Thank you both for being here today. I will turn it over to you now, Aileen.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and hello, everyone. In my family, we eat dinner together every evening, and each person talks about the best bit of their day, the worst part of their day, and what we're most looking forward to tomorrow. We've found that this is a really useful practice as a family, forcing us to find something to be grateful for, even when it perhaps hasn't been the best day. And also a time to acknowledge and remind ourselves that, tomorrow is another day. And when I was preparing this webinar, I thought this is actually quite a similar practice because we're going to talk about what's gone well for the RAIN Alliance and our community and industry in 2025, what has been challenging for us, and what we think probably lies ahead for the RAIN Alliance community in 2026. This webinar is going to take around 50 minutes and there will be time for Q&A at the end, as Elizabeth said, and you can enter your questions at any time. I'm Aileen Ryan, the president of the RAIN Alliance, and I'm going to be joined today by one of our fantastic board members, Pierre Muller, and he's going to share the progress we've made on defining a future-facing roadmap for the Alliance. So, the RAIN Alliance, as a reminder, is a global not-for-profit membership organization, and we unite almost 200 member companies. And our vision is to enable a world where there are trillions of items connected with RAIN technology. Our tagline is that we're built on collaboration, but driven by purpose. And what really do we mean by purpose? Well, our board of directors earlier this year has slightly revised our vision and our mission statement, really to think and crystallize that purpose. And we've divided it into three parts. The first part is around enriching lives. And we see a future where every smartphone can be a gateway to interact with trillions of connected objects around us, transforming how we shop, how we work, how we travel, really transforming how we live. And this isn't science fiction. This is actually what we, supported by our members, are architecting at the moment. And I personally see this as one of the most significant technological shifts of the next decade. Our purpose also encapsulates the concept of empowering industries. RAIN is widely deployed, as we know today, in retail, in logistics, healthcare, transportation, manufacturing, and many other industries, where RAIN technology is being used to track items worth over $2 trillion and generating around at least 10% return on that investment. And the third part of the purpose of the RAIN Alliance is building a sustainable and intelligent planet for our future. Of course, many of the RAIN deployments that exist today result in sustainability benefits, whether it's optimizing supply chain, minimizing transportation runs, whether it's minimizing waste, whether it's enabling better sorting for the recycling process, whether it's making sure that every item that's manufactured is actually sold. All of those activities have a direct sustainability result. But we also, as you know, have been looking very strongly at legislation like Digital Product Passport, which is, or at least was initially designed to provide sustainability data to consumers. Also looking at the United Nations Transparency Protocol and other legislations that are emerging that really focus on the sustainability space. So, to recap, our purpose is really around these three areas: enriching lives, empowering industries, and enabling the emergence of a sustainable and more intelligent planet for the future. The Rain Alliance is supported by a small staff team, many of whom will be familiar to you. And I mentioned earlier that the Alliance is completely built on collaboration. And as you'll see through this presentation, the role of many people on my staff team is to enable our members to collaborate efficiently and effectively. I'm also incredibly grateful for the support of our board of directors, each of whom is appointed for a 2-year term, with approximately half of 7, elected every year. Each board member invests their time to ensure that the Alliance is pursuing the right activities on behalf of the industry as a whole. And you'll have seen many of them deeply immersed in our communities and working groups throughout the year as well. The call for nominations for the 2026 elections is currently open, and you'll find the link on the homepage of our website, and I encourage you to take a look at that, because we need the best minds in the industry to really be active and engaged in how this organisation is run. I'm also supported by our Asian Advisory Council, and they've been tremendously helpful this year under the leadership of Amy Liu from Horizon, who is the chair of this group. They've arranged visits to member companies in Japan and later to India, and now we're working towards a series of visits in China in the springtime of 2026. They also run a WeChat platform and do a lot of translation of material that we publish on the Rain Alliance website, so that other members can read them and interact with them in their own language. The spirit of community and collaboration has really never been more important. And in 2025, I'm absolutely thrilled to share the remarkable number of important deliverables that have been produced by our members in this year. I've selected some of the highlights. Actually, there are quite a lot of highlights here. So first of all, the Manufacturing Quality Work Group is focused on defining an openly available, transparent set of methods covering quality management systems, and also a common language to describe the outcomes of that QMS methodology. And all of the material that they are producing is designed so that they could be audited either independently or in-house, depending on the needs of the end user for any particular application. The ultimate goal is to ensure that end users have a range of choices of tags that meet their quality and performance and price needs, depending on their use case and their environment, so effectively democratizing the market. This work group published a really impressive first deliverable in May this year, and they have really great momentum built towards their second deliverable in early 2026. The next item here with the beautiful boat with cargo containers is really around 2025 going down in history as, I think, the year of international tariff turbulence. And in the summertime, some of our members collaborated to create a really great white paper showing how rain technology can mitigate this very turbulent and uncertain landscape. Our sustainability working group created a strategic member survey to align priorities, and they're currently preparing a soft launch of a use case catalogue, which will demonstrate tangible sustainability value from RAIN deployments in different contexts. The Healthcare Working Group has been working on an FAQ for how RAIN technology provides benefits in the management of medication. Our technical working group is ensuring that our design guidelines include the latest features of the air interface standard, and our developers working group both published and also successfully demonstrated the RCI radio communications interface at Rain in Action. The plastics packaging team examined and published parameters to ensure that RAIN technology is not considered detrimental to the recycling of plastics packaging. The e-waste work group responded to a public consultation from the European Commission on electronic waste, and the sustainability and DPP groups collaborated to support a joint position statement of the RAIN Alliance and GS1, which outlines how RAIN technology and GS1 standards work hand in glove in support of Digital Product Passport. In addition, the sustainability, healthcare, and tire working groups all delivered knock your socks off training courses and workshops at our Rain in Action event in September and in other locations. So this is a really impressive list of deliverables already achieved through member collaboration. But that's not even all. So in some cases, we have highly complex matters that need a variety of different skill sets to come together in order to be successful. And in these cases, where possible and where it's necessary, we do apply some staff support to ensure all of the strands of those very complex activities are drawn together. And I've outlined some of those very complex programs here. The first one is around engaging with governments around the world to ensure we have the required spectrum to allow us to deploy ubiquitously. And Joe Prieshuber-Flugel is the staff member who excellently supports this activity. To give you some tangible examples of the type of work that gets done here, Joe's been supporting our Indian members to commence the process of requesting the upper band, so a 900 megahertz and up, to be made available in India. He's also been working with our European-based members to make sure that same ETSI upper band, as we call it in Europe, has been allocated in the last few remaining European countries. This has actually been an incredibly successful program, and out of all of the European Union, there now only are two countries, I believe Germany and the Netherlands, who have not yet been able to allocate that spectrum. In the US, Joe and I have spent really a lot of time this year working with our members to defend the resilience of global supply chains, encouraging the FCC to reject a petition for proposed rulemaking by a company called NextNav. We've spoken with US end users and we've provided them with templates so that they in turn can also influence the FCC. We've provided technical analysis, both mathematically and with simulations. We've established really strong relationships with some other technology associations where their members are similarly impacted by the NextNav petition. So, for example, the LoRa Alliance, Z-Wave Alliance, the Wi-Fi Alliance. There's a group of about 6 alliances working together. So as you can see, there are really many, many strands with different skill sets in order to achieve a good outcome here in this area. And as a result of this complexity, it is supported by a staff member. I'm sure, moving on to the next bullet point, you're all aware of the massive opportunity for RAIN technology for our industry to when RAIN is an approved data carrier for the European Digital Product Passport legislation. And to make sure that that happens correctly, there are lots of moving parts. First of all, there's been very comprehensive technical work with JTC 24, defining the characteristics of a data carrier, defining the exact data that should be available, and lots of other elements associated with data carriers like security, for example. Then there's cross-industry responsibility to understand the various DPP use cases. So, thinking the DPP needs of, for example, the tire industry are quite different to the needs of the retail industry. And so Suzanne, as the staff person, was tasked with helping to pull all of those strands and needs together. Now we're entering another phase in relation to Digital Product Passport where we have to engage with the legislators as they write the delegated acts for different product types. And again, there's a need to pull together a common voice from our membership and ensure alignment amongst our member resources who are Brussels facing. The next item here is really started as a supporting mechanism for the consumer angle of Digital Product Passport. And it's around the area of having RAIN-enabled smartphones. But as well as supporting Digital Product Passport, this also creates a phenomenal opportunity as it really enables the emergence and proves the value of RAIN in a B2C context. To make this a reality, again, there are lots of different strands requiring different skill sets and different types of contribution. So we've had to identify the best use cases and how will they be monetized, because nobody's going to invest in this unless we can make the economics of the whole technology stack make sense. We also have to ensure that the end user experience is simple and intuitive across all operating systems and all handset manufacturers. So again, clearly there are lots of different strands to this program, and Paul Muller has been leading on pulling together those strands. But again, like all our work, it's only with the really strong, healthy contribution levels of our members that we can make realistic progress on this. And finally, for this section, we all know that RAIN deployments, unfortunately, are not exactly what we would term like out of the box. There's almost always custom engineering to be done. There are complex business processes that need to be codified and implemented. And we do know that sometimes errors occur, sometimes projects fail, sometimes profitability falls as a result. In addition, you, our members, have told us that access to the right talent and skills can be really challenging in this industry. And we also know that many of the highly skilled expert population is aging out. So in response to these factors, we've established a centralized training program a couple of years ago with George Greenlee, being very hands-on, working with members to produce and organize delivery of various training courses. So now we have quite a comprehensive suite of training courses in coding, read point design, solution design and delivery, healthcare, digital product passport, sustainability, and of course, embedding tags, RAIN tags in tires, which was the first training course to be created. And George has also built relationships with third-party commercial events companies like Label Expo, like RFID Journal Live, like the Tire Tech International organization, to name a few. So again here, the course content and shape and syllabus is provided by collaborative contributions from our member companies, with George orchestrating and pulling those strands together. So hopefully it's clear that there's been enormous progress made in 2025, and we're incredibly grateful to all of our member contributors, without whom none of this could have happened. And that's a really neat segue into expressing our gratitude to individuals who've really gone above and beyond this year. We do this every year, and we have a page on our website which lists all of the individuals who have received Rain Alliance awards over the last 3 years since we initiated this activity. But this year at our Rain in Action event, I was really delighted to be able to make awards to three fantastic individuals: Bahar Ali Akbarian, Yessi Tuomanen, and Ralph Coldridge. These three have really contributed enormously to the Rain Alliance. In Bahar's case, to multiple initiatives, but we really recognised her leadership for the Manufacturing Quality Working Group and their first deliverable that was published in the late springtime. And Jesse and Ralph have been long-term contributors over multiple programs, including activity on the board in Ralph's case for many years. And so we were really thrilled to be able to give them significant service and distinguished leadership awards. So that section of the presentation was really focused on the theme of collaboration and contribution and of our members and what we've achieved together in 2025. And now there's a slight maybe change of pace to look at some of other aspects of our community. So just as the Alliance can't operate without the collaboration of our members, we also can't operate without financial fuel. And the fuel for this organisation is your membership fees. In 2025, our membership income came to about 1.3 million US dollars. We have different member categories with annual fees that scale according to the revenue of each member company. And what the pie chart on the left shows is that over 50% of our income comes from companies where their revenue is greater than 50 million US dollars, with the other 45% of our revenue coming from our smaller member companies. In terms of the spend, that's characterized in the chart on the right. As our revenues have grown in the last 3 years, you can see from the red part of this bar chart that we have invested primarily in staff support for the programs that I already described, which have high complexity and multiple diverse strands, where it would be unreasonable to expect a single member company or individual to lead and drive. Moving into 2026, that proportion of our overall budget will remain the same. Now, even though most of our work is done remotely, it's also really important for us to be able to get together in person. Rain in Action is our flagship event, and this year it was held in Amsterdam in September. It attracted nearly 400 attendees, and it was our largest gathering to date. Excuse me. What really stood out at this event was that it reflected the maturity of our ecosystem. Rain in Action really has evolved, excuse me, my voice is going, from a gathering of technology enthusiasts into a place where technology providers, solution partners, and end users come together, with the end users themselves sharing and celebrating their success stories. The energy and collaboration throughout the whole event really underscored just how much momentum and credibility Rain technology carries across so many industries. The opportunity to meet face to face is hugely important, and it provides not just learning opportunities, but also powerful opportunities to build relationships, to do business, and of course to have some fun. And there was plenty of that happening in Amsterdam. Mounting an event of that scale and professionalism, of course, takes an enormous amount of funding. And we're hugely grateful to the 20 member companies that sponsored our event. Not everyone is able to travel to a Rain in Action event, so we also spent time traveling to meet many of our members in their own locations. In chronological order, we met many members at NRF in January. We visited our members in Japan. We had a variety of speaking sessions and panels and networking events in the US, both at the IEEE RFID event in Atlanta and at the RFID Journal Live event in May. We spent quality time with our Indian members, both in July and in September. And by the way, India is our fastest growing membership region. And in October, we had a strong presence in Germany at the Wireless IoT Tomorrow event and another IEEE event in Chengdu in China. It is massively rewarding to be warmly welcomed by our members and hear their stories and see their organisations in real life. And we look forward to doing more of that in 2026. It isn't possible for everyone to travel to Rain in Action, and it's also not possible for us to travel to see every member in every part of the world. So the next best thing is connecting online. And our webinar program grew from strength to strength this year with a number of absolutely standout deliverables, particularly in healthcare and retail, but many, many other examples too. And the beauty is they've all been recorded and they're all available for you to watch on the resources section of our website. So you can see 2025 was a really busy and productive year with lots of really rich content being produced and lots of connections forged. So what does 2026 hold? Quite often I hear statements like, the Rain Alliance should do X. But the reality is that the Rain Alliance can only do anything when our members contribute resource to make those things happen. I don't have a magic wand to create additional resource. I also don't have a crystal ball, even though there is one shown on this slide. But I do know that collectively we have lots of work to do and that the spirit of community and collaboration has really never been more important as we look to seize all the opportunities and address all the challenges. So let's take a look at some of those opportunities and challenges that lie ahead in 2026. First of all, thinking about spectrum matters. We need to engage in a number of different areas. In the USA, the next NAV petition, which is being considered by the FCC, threatens to disrupt and undermine the resilience of American and global supply chains. We collectively have to work to counter the misleading arguments, the incomplete and inaccurate technical analysis, and quite significant political pressure that the FCC has been subject to. In the European Union, there has been an unfortunate interference issue observed in Sweden, which has reverberated throughout the European Union. And we collectively need to calm those concerns and ensure we minimise any adverse effects. In India, we're supporting our members in communications with the government and policymakers to make sure that the upper band can be allocated for use by RAIN and other Part 15 devices. This would benefit not only local deployments by providing bandwidth and power advantages, but it also would provide benefits to our Indian members who work across the globe by enabling them to test under the exact conditions that their systems will be deployed in their customer environments. And finally, there is an opportunity for us to influence the Australian regulators to ensure adequate consideration is given to RAIN technology as they work through a spectrum design activity in 2026. All of these things need the support of member resources. So if you're based in any of these locations, and if you have the capacity and knowledge to help influence spectrum regulators, please join the Radio Regulations Advisory Group. Next, looking at digital product passport legislation. And just a reminder, I suppose, that this represents the single biggest market expansion opportunity that this industry has seen ever. In 2025, I already said our members collaborated very strongly as the DPP standard was written. And thanks to that work, Rain Technology is now generally confirmed as a DPP data carrier. This technical standards-oriented work is not yet quite complete, particularly in some areas like security. So we will be looking to engage here again through 2026. But crucially, there's also a new area of focus in 2026 as we move out of the standards writing phase and into the legislation writing phase. We need our members to engage on preparatory studies, data gathering, and relationship building with the legislators. We need them to do technical work to ensure RAIN tags can be read seamlessly from consumer devices. There is also technical work to ensure that we as a market are able and ready to provide embedded tags that are fit for purpose in the right volumes as the new legislation takes effect. And again, all of this can only be done with the support of our member resources. As I mentioned, for the purposes of Digital Product Passport, RAIN tags need to be readable by consumer devices. But the RAIN-enabled smartphone is actually much bigger than that. With this transition, we're on the cusp of a once-in-a-generation technology change, making RAIN technology accessible in a way that effectively democratizes the Internet of Things and moves us from an era of digital transformation to an era of digital integration. What do I mean by digital integration? Well, I mean unleashing a consumer experience that combines the best of the physical and the digital worlds, augmenting the in-person experience with the rich information, personalization, and product discovery features of the online experience. This isn't just another step in the evolution of our technology. It's actually a fundamental revolutionary change that takes us into completely uncharted territory. And in this uncharted territory, there are some technical challenges that we need to master. For example, how will a RAIN-enabled smartphone redirect to the specific information for that individual unique item? How are app creators going to interact with the RAIN-enabled smartphone in a standardized way across all operating systems? So we have a number of questions like this that are still work in progress. Also, how do we ensure that our end users are making the most out of the opportunity that's created when every consumer has a RAIN reader in their pocket? How do we help them move from digital transformation to digital integration? Because ultimately, the end users who embrace digital integration, blending the best of the physical world with the best of the online world, it's going to be those end users who are the ultimate winners. They're going to extend their lead over their competition. And it will be those end users ultimately who influence the handset manufacturers to provide this capability in the first place and open up the market. Again, all of these strands need the support of our member resources, both business and technical, and I look forward to seeing many of you collaborating with us on those items next year. I mentioned earlier the dual challenges of rain deployments being inherently complex and access to the right talents and skills needed for these complex systems. And that access to talent and skills is challenging. I also mentioned the fact that a regulatory question has been raised right across Europe as a result of an erroneous deployment in Sweden. And we probably all have stories of how a failed proof of concept caused months or even years of project delays. And these are the challenges that our training program is designed to overcome. Our members have done an amazing job to produce and deliver various training courses, and I mentioned some of them earlier: encoding, read point design, project delivery, etc. We have now built relationships with 10 universities around the world who are offering Rain Alliance training courses to their students. And we've built relationships with various third-party commercial events companies so that we're able to deliver our training courses at their events too. But again, we're reliant on member resources to help with the delivery of courses. And the reality is that we can offer all the training courses in the world, but the crucial thing is that people need to take those training courses. So we also need our members to ensure your own teams take the training, that you encourage your partners to take the training courses, and where appropriate, that your end customers also engage in these training opportunities. Now, if that list is not exhaustive enough, it doesn't end there either. Any well-run organization has a roadmap to the future based on a strategic analysis of the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats, and looking widely at market dynamics. The Rain Alliance is, of course, no different, and I'm delighted that Pierre Muller, one of our board members, is here to introduce that early stage roadmap work to you today. Pierre.
Thank you, Eileen. That's really my pleasure. The board responsibility is to ensure good operation and set a strategic direction for the Alliance. Our goal is to prepare the RFID industry for the next decade, and I'm very excited to share the vision that we have and that we have been shaping with the board. This is really a living roadmap, and your feedback and your contribution really matters, and because we are building the Alliance for the members and we are shaping the industry together. So let's be clear that we really value your feedback and we want to have the most contribution here. Let's move to this slide. We have currently 6 major initiatives within the Alliance. Aileen has presented the current work that is ongoing with all the initiatives. Let's now step back and look at the global picture and the way ahead with those initiatives. On the training, we have currently the Masterclass certification program. We're looking into extension of this with online training and university partnership. We want to create a well-trained workforce for RFID adoptions. The long-term vision of the Alliance is a full training program for members to enable a strong onboarding of the new staff, and for new companies that are new to RAIN to quickly increase their RFID IQ and be very, very quickly operational on the technology. Sustainability is one of the key focus of the Alliance, and RFID must support sustainability, not hinder it. We are reducing tag footprint. We are ensuring also that RFID is not detrimental to recycling. With the Plastic Tiger team has delivered a huge contribution this year. We are shipping also European regulations for DPP. No, the work is not stopping there. Circularity is coming, and the next topic that we have to address also are the e-waste regulations and the packaging and packaging waste regulation at the end of the decade. Data sharing, quality first. Quality is major topic, of course, for all end user, and as just mentioned by Eileen, best way to fail is basically to deliver poor quality, and of course that's well too many stories around that. Let's ensure that we have the right quality, starting with the quality of the label into all the program, and the quality specifications that we introduced in 2025 is a major milestone. We are really looking on how to democratize performance assessments for the different verticals and make sure again that we can, as much as possible, have a plug-and-play deployment of RFID out of the box. Getting a bit more technical there, RAIN is technology that is built on identifier, and with the smartphone initiative, we need to enable new unique resource identifiers. We're working with AIM on that, extending them and defining the baseline technology and standard that we need to prepare the smartphone initiative. We will continue to set the ground for very successful RAIN-enabled smartphone deployment, led by all the work leads by Paul and the working group on the smartphone. On the air interface side, Gen2V3 has been rolled out this year, focusing on improving the system performance. It builds on Gen2V2 with full backward compatibility. Tags and reader are now getting available on the market, and we're looking very much ahead with industry partner like GS1 into not next year, but in the coming years, what are also the lesson learned that we should integrate, what Gen3 might look like, and integrating all the learnings that we'll have from the B2C use case and smartphone deployment into new technology, so that we make sure that RAIN continue to deliver stronger and stronger benefit to the end user. Spectrum is key. Spectrum is key. You just deliver. You just explain why recently NextNav it's been a tremendous effort for us, and the Alliance has really led the coalitions there and make sure that we are advocating at the right level with the right persons. It's very difficult effort for the Alliance to do given the state of the resources, but it was really crucial that we are protecting the spectrum. So there was absolutely a consensus inside the board about putting the effort and putting really some focus there. But that's also very difficult and taking the limits of really getting us to the limit. We need also to rely on the members and on the members' effort to be able to be successful in those initiatives. But what the Alliance is really good at is also making sure that we are aware of what's going on, making sure that we can structure any coalitions, and that we can also be well prepared, prepare the resource materials that we need, and make sure that we are at the right level to protect the spectrum versus NextNav today, but versus the future threat that might come. Everything cannot be fit into that slide. There are future initiatives that should pay off in and bring big value in the coming years, like RAIN combination with sensor. We have a new working group with that, and exploration also of pharma and medtechs, which are having a huge potential for RAIN, and that's not nearly as mature as retail is. So this is also some focus that you will see, and much more probably next year when we do again this exercise. You probably seeing some slight adjustment there. This initiative will position us for 2030 and beyond. Your input and participation in the working group will make it much stronger. And the conversation doesn't stop here. Aileen, can you tell us more about next opportunity to meet, share ideas, and shape the future of RFID together?
Thanks, Pierre. Yes, absolutely. I am still reeling from the buzz of excitement at Rain in Action in Amsterdam, which was really palpable. And of course, we have already started work on our 2026 flagship event, which is going to take place in Madrid at the end of September. This is live on our website. Please save the date in your calendars, September 29th to October 1st, 2026 in Madrid. Sponsorship opportunities are already available, and I'm also hoping that I can rely on you to support Mindy as she starts her research calls and launches the call for speakers in the new year. It's really important that we nail our research for putting on these types of events so that we have the absolute best speakers focused on the most important topics for our entire community. And with that, I think as the impact and reach of the RAIN Alliance grows and we collectively lead on more and more, there's absolutely no shortage of work to be done, and hopefully that's really clear from this presentation. The spirit of collaboration is hugely important, and all of our outputs this year on behalf of the industry is really testament to the power of membership collaboration. Thank you for what we've achieved together in 2025. For those celebrating over the coming weeks, I wish you a peaceful holiday, and I can't wait to see what this group's going to achieve in 2026. Thank you so much for your attention, and now we will move to Q&A. If you have any questions, please enter them into the Q&A panel on at the bottom of your Zoom screen. I'm looking at the Q&A panel and nobody's asked any questions so far, so please do. And if I don't see any question in the next 10 or so seconds, I think we can assume that we've covered everything comprehensively. And we wish you all, for those who are celebrating holidays over the next few weeks, we wish you all a very relaxing break. And we look forward to engaging in the new year. Thank you all very much. There don't seem to be any questions. Thank you, Pierre, for your work.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you both for your time today. Bye-bye.